Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Jessica Nicole. I am half reader, half writer, all bookworm, and in today's video I am going to be sharing with you guys the huge book haul that I have after Audible had their most recent sale. So Audible had a sale where basically the whole site was 85% off, or up to 85% off, and I went a little crazy. My Audible library is now fully stocked. I definitely have more Audible books. I don't know, it might be a close race. I might have like just as many Audible books as I do physical books at this point. And I spent way too much money, but I did get a lot of books, and up to 85% off. Like, there were books for like $4. Like, I couldn't pass that up, because if you don't know, audiobooks can get expensive. Like, my Audible membership that I pay every month to get one audiobook a month is basically $18. And yeah, like I said, some of these books were like $4 and $5. So without further delay, because this is gonna be a longer video, I'm gonna go ahead and get into these. I'm gonna tell you what I got and tell you like a little bit of what I know about it, if I know anything about it. First of all, I got The Housemaid and The Housemaid's Secret. They did have the third book in the Housemaid series available, but at that point I had already spent so much money. So yeah, I just decided to leave the third one for like later on, and I'd use a credit on it. But yeah, I have already read The Housemaid this year, but I have this thing where if I am buying one book in the series, I want to get like the whole series like in that same format. So if I have one book in physical, I want to get all the whole series in physical books. Same thing with Kindle books, same thing with audiobooks. So even though I already read The Housemaid on my Kindle, I went ahead and got it in audiobook, and I think it'd be just fun to go back, because that was a really fun story. I really liked that one. Those are both by Frida McFadden. The Housemaid series is basically a psychological thriller series about this girl who's trying to like put her life back together, and just ends up in these crazy thriller situations. I think it's like a domestic thriller, like, is the subgenre of it. I don't know, I just know it was really, really good, and I'm looking forward to the second book in the series, to reading it. I then got the entire Atlas 6 trilogy. This I don't really know much about. All I know is it's about these 6 magicians competing for like one spot, and like it's like a fight to the death or something. I don't know, but it's got like, it's giving like academic rivals, it's giving like secret society, mystery, all those vibes, and I'm here for it. I think this would be really cool to read like in the fall. I think it's got fantasy things going on, because they're like magicians and stuff too. So yeah, I got Belladonna and the sequel to Belladonna, which is Foxglove. There's a third book, but I don't think it's out yet. So I got both of those. I do own these both in physical form. A lot of these books I own in physical form. I like to go back and forth, and like if I'm reading the book at home, I don't really take my physical books like out of my room. I like leave them here and read them at home, because if they get damaged, like, I'm gonna get upset. So like if I'm like on the treadmill at the gym, I'll like listen to the audiobook, like the next chapter of the audiobook that I'm reading at home or whatever. Or if I'm laying in bed, can't fall asleep, I'll listen to an audiobook. But yeah, I got Belladonna and Foxglove. All I really know about this series is that there is a romance between this girl who can like see death, and like Death himself, and there's a romance going on. There's also a murder mystery happening, and yeah, I was kind of hooked when the girl, there was like this supernatural romance going on. So it supposedly gives like off these gothic vibes, and I'm excited to jump into that. Belladonna's on my summer TBR, and I'm planning on reading Foxglove in the fall. So speaking of gothic vibes, I got One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. This one I think is kind of like a dystopian style duology about this girl who's living in this world where there was this sickness that infected the population and gave them like these nightmares in their brains. And she's actually like still infected with the sickness, so she's trying to get rid of this like voice in her head. And the only way she can do it is she's gonna have to go on this like quest to collect these playing cards that have some kind of magical power. So I got that whole series, which was just a duology, so that was cool. I got Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron, which is one of my, it's the book that basically got me back into reading. It's the first book that I picked up again, like just for fun. as an adult. I can't remember if that was like 2021 or 2022, whenever I started back reading it. That's the first book I picked up and I loved it. Such a good story. It's really good. I would recommend it a lot to like reluctant readers, because it's a really fast-paced story, really funny, witty. It has a lot of heart and a lot of fantasy, but it's basically set in this world where the Cinderella story is not a story. It's like the law, and like girls are constrained by the rules of this very like abusive patriarchal society. And our main character, Sophia, she kind of like breaks the mold and, you know, lifts the curtain. Is that an expression? I don't know. She kind of like exposes the people in power for who they are and changes the world. So I got Bride by Ali Hazelwood. The only Ali Hazelwood book that I have ever read was Checkmate, and I love Checkmate. Read that this year. So I got Bride. I do have Bride as a physical book as well, and I'm planning on reading it in the fall. All I know about it is it's a romance between a vampire and a werewolf. It's giving Twilight, and I'm all the way here for that. I also got Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. This is described to me online as like a cozy fantasy with more of a slow burn romance than a fantasy, but it sounds like something I'm really gonna like. I hear that the writing is really poetic and the story is really beautiful. So it's about these two people that are working at this newspaper. They're covering a war between the gods, and they kind of are rivals and they fall in love. I got The Merciful Crow and The Faithless Hawk. The main character in The Merciful Crow is this mercy killer, and there's a plague going on, and for some reason she comes into contact with the prince, and it's a love triangle between her, the prince, and the prince's bodyguard, and it's a duology that I have in paperback and that I now have an audiobook from it. I got Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, which is a thriller about a girl who is apartment sitting in this really upscale apartment building, and then crazy weird stuff starts to happen. It's giving The Calls Coming from Inside the House, and I love movies like that, but they also terrify me, so I'm thinking I'm gonna read this one in the fall and like read it at night and really scare myself because I'm a sane person. I got One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake, which is the same author of the Atlas 6 series. This is a Romeo and Juliet retelling about rival witch families. So there's a family of girl witches and a family of boy witches, and I think there's some kind of romance going on between a member of each family, and they're not supposed to like each other because they're from rival families. So I got The Only One Left by Riley Sager, which is a Lizzie Borden style story. It's basically this girl goes to like this girl committed like this crime, okay, and she killed her whole family, I think, and she's living in the house where it happened, and she's asking this reporter to come in and like write down the story. Like she's gonna tell the story for the first time in its entirety, and she's only gonna tell it to this one person. So yeah, she comes and writes down the story, and I think like weird things start to happen. Personally, I would have passed up that job opportunity, but you know, makes for a fun story, hopefully. I got The Roommate Risk by Talia Hibbert. I've never read a Talia Hibbert book, and I've been meaning to, but basically there are these two best friends. The guy is in love with the girl like has no idea of his feelings, and they end up having to be roommates. Need I say more? I love he falls first tropes. I got Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is basically, has been described to me as like the Hunger Games. Basically there's this kingdom where some people have powers, some people don't. If you have a power, you're treated better than the people that don't have powers. I think the people that don't have powers are supposed to be like hunted down and like rounded up and killed or either exiled or whatever. But the main character, it has somehow eluded this, Cole, and she ends up competing in this tournament with people that have powers. So I don't know how that's gonna work out for her, but I guess we shall see. I got a Psalm of Storms and Silence, and A Song of Wraith and Ruin. That is definitely a mouthful. All I really know about this duology, I don't know if it's going to be like more books in it, but right now it's a duology, is that there's a prince and a princess, I think, of like rival kingdoms, and she needs to kill him to break some kind of curse to save her mom, and he needs to kill her for some reason. So it's basically like an against all odds romance, I'm thinking, and I am really excited to read that. I got Trial of the Sun Queen and Rule of the Aurora King, and this was kind of described as like The Bachelor, but make it fantasy. Basically our main character has been like in the Aurora King's territory. Something bad happened to her over there and she wants revenge for it. She ends up competing in the Sun Queen trials to marry the Sun King. So that's what the first book's about. And the other contestants are from the Sun King's territory and they're like hostile to her because she's not from there. So that's what that's about. And I keep saying I'm excited to read it, but of course I'm excited to read all these books. I wouldn't have bought them otherwise. But yeah, that sounds like a really interesting story. A lot of these stories have like similar themes. I don't know if it's like a Hunger Games revival or something coming out, but I've noticed that a lot of stories like are giving the Hunger Games vibes these days. I got Their Vicious Games, which is about a girl who is accepted into like this elite school. She's a scholarship kid, but she makes like one bad choice, something bad happens, and so everything she's worked for is like on the line. But she can save her spot if she competes in these vicious games. Again, giving Hunger Games. If she competes in these games that are like deadly for some reason, and she competes in them to try to save her spot. But I think what's going to happen is she's going to end up like taking down the people in power. And I'm all the way here for that. So yeah, that's another one I'm planning on reading in the fall. I got one I'm planning on reading in the winter is Winterwood. This one is about a girl who is a witch and she lives in the woods with the rest of her family. They're kind of like exiled outcasts from the town. But there's this boy who went missing from like this wilderness camp or this place for troubled teens. I don't really know. I can't really remember right now, but he went missing and he's walking through the Winterwood, which is supposed to be like a deadly, like nobody comes out of it. But he does. And so like the only person that will talk to him is this girl from this witch family. And so they're kind of outcasts together. And that's all I know about it. I like witchy books, you know, if they're done right and they're not all satanic and stuff. So, you know, hopefully this one isn't. I have another book by this author, Aaron Earnshaw, that I'm going to be reading this summer called The Wicked Deep. Then I got, these 3 books were free though. I got the, what is it? The Daughter of No Worlds trilogy. I don't know if that's the name of it, but the first book is called Daughter of No Worlds. Then you've got, Children of Fallen Gods and Mother of Death and Dawn. These were free and I just saw them and I just downloaded them. So I'm happy they're free because I love this author. I love, Carissa Broadbent. Her, what was it? The Crowns of Nyaxia series. I loved those, and yeah, I'm excited to read more of her writing. Another thriller I got is The Last Word. This one is, it just sounds like it hits kind of close to home. It's about a girl who she's just reading a book and she finishes it and she hates it and she gives it like a bad review online, and the author kind of replies to her and like starts harassing her online, and she like disengages. She goes on about her life or about her night anyway, and she starts to notice like weird things happening, like she feels like someone is watching her or someone is inside her house with her. So yeah, I just thought that was an interesting premise. Had never heard of a thriller like that, so I'm really excited to read this one. I've heard a lot of good things about it for a long time now, and I just decided to pick it up. Then I got 2 books that I have also already read. Well, I'll just talk about all 3 of these books. I got 3 books in the Monsters and Muses series, which I am trying to finish this summer. I started it like 2 years ago. I got Promises and Pomegranates and Vipers and Virtuosos, which I've already read. Promises and Pomegranates is a Hades and Persephone retelling, and Vipers and Virtuosos is an Orpheus and Eurydice retelling. And then I also got Souls and Sorrows, which is just the next book in the series that I'm going to read. I don't know anything about it. I'm just reading the series. I'm basically vibing at this point. I really like the books. My favorite one is the first one, Promises and Pomegranates. They are dark romances, so check trigger warnings. Monsters and Muses series by Sav R. Miller. I've loved every single book in the series except for book 3. Book 3 fell flat for me, but book 4 was really good, and I'm on to book 5. I'm reading book 5 and 6 this summer is the plan. And then I got Caught Up and Mile High. I read The Right Move, which is book 2 in that series. I don't know why I started out of order. I do know why I started out of order. I heard that Mile High wasn't good, but I want to form my own opinion on it, and it was really cheap. So I got Mile High, which is a hockey romance, and then I got Caught Up, which is a baseball romance. They're all set in Chicago. So they're called the Windy City romances, I think. So yeah, I got those, just some fun little romance books. The Last Time I Lied is, I think, the last thriller. Nope, I got one more thriller. But The Last Time I Lied is a thriller that's set in a summer camp. Basically, these girls are friends at summer camp. One of them goes missing. All the girls are like, I didn't see anything, I don't know anything, but one girl did see something. And I think the past is going to come back to haunt her. The other thriller that I got is The Reappearance of Rachel Price. This came out this year. And it's about this girl whose mother went missing years ago. The family's filming a documentary about it, and just as they're starting to film the documentary, the mother shows back up. And there's something fishy about her disappearance and about her reappearance, and I'm excited to see what is going on and what twists and turns are going to be in this book, because I heard it's a wild ride, and I've only ever read one other Holly Jackson book, that was 5 Survive, and I really enjoyed that, so I have high hopes for this one. And then I got 2 more books. 2 more. We're almost done, you guys. I got Butcher and Blackbird, which is basically, I think, a serial killer romance. I think they're both serial killers and they fall in love. I just have like a fixation, not a fixation, I'm just fascinated by serial killers, I guess. I like watching true crime documentaries, and I like watching like serial killer deep dives, so I figured I'd like this book. And then the last book I got is Flawless by Elsie Silver. I've been hearing flawless for like 2 years now, and I just want to check it out and see what all the hype is about. And I'm from the country, so you know, cowboy romance, might as well check it out, just to do it, just to say I did. And those are all the books that I got in the Audible sale. Let me know if you picked up anything from the most recent Audible sale. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought about them in the comments, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.